Welcome to the Bone and Joint Playbook with Dr. John Urse, where we explore an extensive range of orthopedic topics and insights. Our goal is to help you understand the available orthopedic options and treatments available, and hopefully give you some answers to questions you might have. We want to thank our following sponsors.
Ted's Authentic Greek Salad Dressing and Marinade. It's healthy, gluten-free, and delicious. That's Ted's Authentic Greek Dressing and Marinade. Thanks, Ted. Ted's is available online at tedsaladdressing.com.
We would also like to thank
Stifel's GWR Group combines more than 65 years of experience helping high net worth clients consolidate, coordinate, and simplify their wealth planning strategies. The group has access to a full suite of resources to serve all of your financial needs. Email gwrgroup@stifel.com or call 937-353-2863 to speak to Guy, Brad, or Jeff Richardson. Stifel, Nicholas & Company, Incorporated.
Hey, Dr. John. Welcome back to the Bone and Joint Playbook. You are Dr. John. This is your podcast, and today we're talking about something that's a perfect timing called heat stroke, heat exhaustion.
That's right, but the title is Heat Stroke Can Kill You.
Heat stroke can kill you. Now, I'm fascinated about this because the kids are just now going back to school, which means two-a-day practices just started, and basically they are on the field. It's hot. Tell us about heat stroke. What does that actually mean?
Well, it means that your body temperature internally has gotten too high, and it starts to cause damage to your cells. And
what is too high?
Too high is over 104 degrees.
Okay.
That's Fahrenheit. So there's two things you need to know. One is the rest of the world's using centigrade. We're using Fahrenheit. The rest of the world's in the winter right now, too, in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So they couldn't care less about heat stroke, but in the middle of January they will, when it's hot down there and in the Australian Open.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do is find out, what do you do for soccer, American football, outdoor sport activities, lacrosse, running, track, whatever it is, where you could be at a picnic on a really hot day. You could be inside a baseball stadium with AstroTurf, and you could find the temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit easily, more than you'd expect. If the person or the players get too hot themselves, maybe they're wearing equipment, I'm thinking football linemen.
Football players, how much stuff they have to wear.
Sure, and they're the number one cause of death-related heat stroke problems because they're wearing heavy equipment. They're bigger people to begin with. I mean, they're blocking for your running backs.
Right.
But, it's a very preventable problem, but you have to know, number one, what are their symptoms? What is their true temperature? And it's important to know how to take a true temperature to know your players are too hot or they're just thirsty, and there's a big difference.
Well, so I have some slides we're going to put up here, but the first slide says 90% of heat illnesses in football happens in the first 15 practices of the season. Is there a reason for that?
There is. The reason is your body is not used to hot weather. So you have not acclimatized to a hotter environment. You're running through a drill sergeant coach who's running you up and down the field or making you do more than you had been doing before all this football practice started, right? Or soccer practice. So your body, just like climbing Mount Everest, will get used to a higher altitude with less oxygen. That's why Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary built base camps halfway up Mount Everest to acclimatize or get the body used to those lower oxygen areas. Same thing with heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Your temperature mechanisms in the body to cope with that need to adjust. And after 15 or so practices, you're more used to this hot environment with a lot of equipment. And we still, as coaches and parents, need to know what are the temperatures that these kids have, or adults, right, in their core. Because if your temperature is over 104, you just like the inside parts of a watch, the cells that have little power cells in our body called mitochondria start to melt after 104 degrees. And they physically melt. And then what happens is your organs all die. So you have what's called multi-organ failure, kidney, heart, brain, lungs, those things. And these people die a week later of multi-organ failure, all because they overheated from heat stroke. So we need to know how do we recognize heat stroke?
What's the early
and what do we
signs?
do if we think somebody's lightheaded or they just have heat exhaustion? We need to distinguish those two things, heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. They're two different things. One is not too serious. Heat exhaustion means you're just hot. You're going to be sweating. Your temperature on your skin is going to be cool and clammy. Those people need to sit down, cool rag, have some water, get in the shade, and chill out. You're not at a critical temperature. If you have an accurate way to take a temperature, what do you think the most accurate way to take a temperature is?
We talked about this, and I was not happy about the answer. It's through the rectum.
That's right. And most coaches and players aren't opting for that way to check their temperature. In fact, we use less accurate means with these little guns pointing from 20 feet away. Oh, you don't have a fever, you don't have COVID, or and they're not accurate. So an accurate reading needs to tell you what is the true internal temperature of that person. If it's under 104, you're okay, unless they don't feel better within an hour. And those people, then you need to call 911 or an emergency squad. If someone's over 104 degrees, they have heat stroke. Their skin's going to be red, it's going to be dry, they're going to be lightheaded, they're going to be disoriented, they're going to be a little dizzy, and it could be a coach saying, hey, you're just not up to practicing on my rigorous schedule, and if you're going to play for me, you're going to tough it out.
Yeah, I remember
wrong
coaches
answer.
like that. Yeah.
That's right. It's the wrong answer. The answer is take that kid's temperature, and if it's high, if it's 104, that kid needs three things. One, he's to stop what he's doing. He's to take stuff off to cool down. And you need to rapidly cool these people. And the best thing you can do is put them in a water-filled tub, literally like
We'll
these.
put that up there, yeah.
We're going to have just these big things cows drink out of called Rubbermaid tubs. Good plug for Rubbermaid. You could sponsor us if you want. But I have to say that calling the squad doesn't help the person. They put them in an ambulance, drive them 20 minutes to a hospital. They're still hot. They're still overheating. They're still melting their mitochondria. So cooling them at the field, the best thing you could do if you coach a football team or soccer team is have these big, things farmers have for animals that have water in them, and you put the player in that and cool them down. And we'll show a picture of somebody.
And you're saying at every practice session, just have them on the sideline?
Just have them have them at the field, because that cools them down. In fact, if you go to a Dallas Cowboy practice, they have pavilions with 10 of these Rubbermaid tubs, and they do what are called 2-a-day practices. So you're having a morning and then an afternoon practice. Well, midday, you got a bunch of these linemen sitting in Rubbermaid tubs reading a newspaper or whatever they read these days. Maybe don't read
full
newspapers.
Of ice.
Yeah, well, they don't even have to be ice. They could just be cool water.
Okay.
I mean, you're just trying to get the body down. I mean, ice is great. Ice whirlpools are great after we play. They help with healing. Most people that are trainers or in athletic departments will have these ice baths for athletes, and it helps your muscles recover from injury. Certainly 50-degree ice is a shock to the system, but it's great for your muscles. You're going to get out and play better the next day. So we do want to use ice later, but you just need water, and water will cool it. Frogs and other animals and dogs, you ever see a dog put a paw in a pond or put their tongue on the ground? They're cooling their body from convection by taking the heat into the water. That's what a tub does for someone who's got heat
out of your
stroke.
body,
Yeah, it's like life-saving. It's like a tub of water.
So let's talk about some of the symptoms of heat stroke and heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
Both of them seem to have dizziness.
Yeah, and that's what makes it confusing. You've got a patient who's lightheaded, they're dizzy, they don't feel good. Well, you want to make sure they didn't get their noggin rung. We talked about concussions. But if they're hot, then you need to check their temperature. And if you need to get, grandma's old thermometer out, you can check the mouth, you can check under the arm. Some of the ones, again, the tapes and the little things in the ear and the little handheld guns, not quite as accurate.
Right.
But again, you should get a ballpark reading. And once you get above a certain number, again, 104, you're going to have to get my, centigrade brethren out there to convert that probably in the mid 30 degree centigrade range is above 104. I have to do the math.
So the dizziness is common. One with heat stroke, you might lose consciousness.
Yeah, and again, those are more serious. Again, these people's the easiest thing is think of the skin. The skin's going to be warm and dry in a heat stroke patient, okay? And they're going to feel disoriented. They may lose consciousness. That person's temperature needs checked, and if it's high, he needs cooled. End of story. If they have cool skin and it's clammy, then and they're sweating, then they're making water. They're not that dehydrated. They have heat exhaustion. They're not critical. Their temperature should be 101, maybe 102 at the highest, but those people just need to rest, hydrate, get out of the sun, cool, and then those people should be fine. If they're not better in an hour, we talked about having them get checked out by someone, but you know, if you have what you think is a heat stroke patient who's got warm, red skin that's dry, he's not sweating, they're dizzy, they're disoriented, the temperature's high, you immediately cool them in a tub. Call 911. They need to know about it, but they're not going to help them as much as you are as a parent or a coach sticking them in a Rubbermaid tub and cooling them down. And we'll show a picture of a guy, you know, I don't care if you throw him in there with his clothes on, cool him down.
All right, so
try and get that stuff off if you can.
We've talked a lot about heat stroke, the symptoms, what happens, how do you prevent it?
Well, you prevent it by A, taking frequent water breaks, B, having there's temperature thresholds where schools or programs will not practice. I mean, the heat index is 110 degrees today. Yeah. My daughter lives in South Carolina, and it's 115 degree heat index down there. Like, if you're the coach, I think you go in the classroom with air conditioning and get a blackboard and draw some plays on the thing and drink Kool-Aid all day. I think you're crazy to be out in that stuff. So prevention can be, don't go out in 50 below weather in the winter. Don't go out in 115 degree weather in the summer. Be smart. Don't think you don't need frequent water breaks. You need to be able to maybe not get full gear on. You know, you might do a light practice in shorts and don't do tackling. Yeah, and you might, honestly, turn the lights on and practice at night. Some coaches do evening practices where it's cooler.
That makes a lot of sense.
It is common sense, but you have to have things available. You have to have a good training staff. You have to have awareness. You have to have something there to cool the person rapidly. And it's hard to cool a body rapidly. Honestly, a bathtub is not too portable, but some of these big plastic Rubbermaid tubs.
So what's the long-term effect of a heat stroke?
Well,
let's say I have one.
If you don't die and you cool down, you've saved your internal organs and you're going to live, and it should be fine. Just like.
But it does it if you're there and you survive it? Is there long-term damage?
There shouldn't be. Okay. It's again, it's just everything's a time continuum. How long has the high temperature had an effect on your body, and how quickly did you lower that to prevent internal damage to our organs? So I think you really this is a great topic. This isn't rocket science, but it's a catastrophe, and it should not happen in this day and age where people die. Now, the numbers are much better in the last 15, 20 years in sports because of prevention, because of treating what's called rapid cooling ideas. So I think the recognition is there, but the simplicity of it is you can be in a rural environment with a football team that's really good. Well, you probably have farm animals around, so you should have a few Rubbermaid tubs out there for your practice. So just think of ways you're going to be ready for someone who overheats. The Cowboys have thought of it, right? They're in their pavilion in between practices. They tell people to cool down. They know their linemen are more at risk because they wear more equipment. Well, they wear a lot of equipment, but they're bigger body habitus is part of the problem.
What if you're out in the middle of a park and all of a sudden you come across somebody who's maybe apparently having a heat stroke?
Sure.
Okay, you're in the middle of a park. What are you going to,
well, find water if you can.
Water?
Because if you can put them in a
drink
stream.
Water or cover them in water?
Well, put them in the stream. Get them in water just like you would a Rubbermaid tub.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a cool rag on their neck, water hydration, get them out of the sun, obviously. Try to find ways to rapidly cool them. And, if you've got things in a cooler, you got any kind of ice or cold, pack them everywhere you can. Obviously, you can't always find water, so use whatever you've got. You can soak their clothes in it, pour your canteen on them, put it on their neck, get them cooled down as fast as you can.
If you find somebody who's passed out at a concert, right, and you're in the middle of a crowd, I mean, the obvious thing is people shouldn't just think they're drunk or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's where you have most venues, like an arena, has a first aid station or a medical area. Get those people involved and say, look, this person. I mean, look at their skin. I mean, if their skin is red and they're dry and they're disoriented and their body feels warm, take their temperature. A first aid station should have a way to take a temperature, right? And get them cooled down right away. You have to make sure they're not doing some other drug or alcohol related dizziness cause, right? But that's up to your healthcare professionals to evaluate. Again, you are probably the best person to save them if they're out in a place away from medical help. If they're on a field, if they're at on a trail somewhere, on the Appalachian Trail somewhere.
Right.
I mean, go down gets you to water, right? Always go down to look for water sources if you're lost somewhere. But again, you want to cool down, get out of the sun, get out of the heat, rapidly cool the patient or the person, and call for help. Get someone else. Not everybody's a paramedic, right? So you just try to do what you can to help people, and you'd be surprised how simple things help, like a cool rag, ice, water, any water source. Put their arm in a stream, it's going to cool them down.
Okay. Well, anything we left off on the topic?
No, it's just something that people need to be aware of. And this. If everybody tells their little league coach and their soccer coach and their basketball coach, whatever it is, it's basketball not so much because you're inside,
right? But
we have outdoor basketball too, and people play in the summer and they play in hot weather. So, just be smart about what your environment is and what you're doing, and check your temperatures before you start playing. And if you're the coach, maybe just don't practice that day if you know the heat index is going to be really high. And there's days in like our Southwest United States and Arizona, it's triple figure temperatures for weeks at a time. Las Vegas is like that.
God.
And those are dangerous areas for outdoor activities if you're doing exertive things like soccer, football,
right,
lacrosse, those track activities.
Walking up down the strip in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Sure, you shouldn't die doing that.
I felt pretty close one time.
So can we thank our sponsors?
I was going to ask you to do that.
So we want to thank Ted's Authentic Greek Salad Dressing. It's a great marinade and gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free marinade. You can get it online at tedsaladdressing.com.
How's Ted doing?
Ted's doing good. He's had some health challenges, but he's hanging in there.
We all have, yeah.
He's the guy on the front of the label.
He's the father of Ted's salad.
He's the OG, the original gangster.
Yeah.
So we also want to thank Stiefel GWR Group, their financial consultants, Guy, Brad, and Jeff Richardson. There'll be a website you can see if you have some interest in financial consulting.
They're great
guys. They do a great job for us, and we appreciate their sponsorship.
All right. Well,
and Tri-Level Recordings, who does a great job. Make sure you like or tell people about the Bone and Joint Playbook on whatever social media platform or YouTube you watch or listen to, and we thank you for that.
All right. Well, that's it for this issue of the Bone and Joint Playbook. We'll be back again real soon with another episode. Thanks for joining us.